Welcome to On Thick Ice, a podcast about navigating relationship intricacies by two people who are just trying to make one work. I'm Emily.
And I'm John. Each week, we'll be tackling the pressing issues we all face in our relationships but rarely address head on.
Alright, so today we're talking about how we show the people that we love them. We need to know a lot to strengthen relationships. Likes, dislikes, what side of the bed they want, what brand of toilet paper they use, and maybe their love languages. What is a love language? How important are they really? Are there really only 5? Let's talk about it.
So, love languages. What is this is? For me, I think I've only really ever heard the term love language used as like a passing joke in rom-coms. And even when it's not really used as a joke, it's almost always used as a sexy time reference of sorts.
Right.
So I was not exactly sure what this episode was going to be about when you first pitched it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that I'm not the only one that didn't know this was a thing. I mean, to be fair, I did completely miss the 2008 financial crisis. But so it's really possible that, I am the last person to find out about this.
You probably are.
Right. But that's honestly for a different day. Anyways, I think my initial reaction to hearing love languages is the dumb shit that we say to each other all the time.
Right.
I mean, we legit have our own language that would probably terrify other people if they heard us in rare form, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like when your inside jokes go like a step so far that you just lose all context.
Right. Yeah, so like for this, like what I gravitated towards was things like what happened to that lady? or I mean, there's so many different stupid things that we say. So things for me, I think like love languages, things that have more context than meaning, really.
Okay.
Like statements that coincide with moments and feelings, and dropping a, what happened to that lady at the perfect moment will mean so much to the both of us because we feel the power of the words in the moment, I guess. Yeah. So I guess this love language is more of a feeling, like a vibe, something that only us would understand,
it's ours.
Can appreciate the meaning of it. So yeah, that's kind of how I saw it.
Yeah, so you legit, I said love languages, and you didn't know that was, like, a thing. You didn't know that it was, like...
No,
cool.
I had no idea. Never heard of it before.
Cool. Well, to me, when I think about love languages, I think, like, it's just the way that you feel, like, most loved. Like, what are the things that you, as my partner, can say or do that make me feel like you love me, right? But the concept of love languages, like... definition, I suppose, is like it shows couples how to give each other love in ways that it is best received. So like what works for me might not work for someone else, might not work for you, but you as my partner understand what works for me.
I think so.
Yeah. That it's a weird concept to try to explain, and I think that's why we have this whole thing about the 5 love languages. So you didn't know what love language is, so I'm assuming that you have no idea or had no idea before we started researching this what the 5 love languages are, right?
No, I did not know this was a thing.
Okay, so this is what popped into my head. Like when we were brainstorming topic ideas, I was thinking about the 5 love languages because it's very popular. It's like something that you probably read about in like Cosmo or like Huffington Post, like BuzzFeed articles,
everything
shit like that.
I don't read.
Right.
Oh, wait, I don't read. Yeah, that's right.
You just don't read.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like it's part of my lexicon, like my friends and I talk about it, like, whatever. The 5 love languages.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
So, why... Sorry, I'm having a hard time with this, what you just said. So, you said that you and your friends talk about it all the time.
Yes.
Why?
It's something that just, like, comes up. Like, we'll be talking about, like, one of my friends' new boyfriends that she's dating, and she'll be like, oh, like, we went on, our 3rd date, and he bought me a book at the bookstore, and that was so cool, because you guys know my love language is receiving gifts, and it's just, like, something like that. Or, like, when we're talking about doing things for each other for, like, holidays and shit like that. Like someone's love language of giving to someone else might be like acts of service. So like I'm going to send you an Uber gift card because that's going to pay for something practical for you to drive around and stuff like that. That's where it comes up. Because I think that love languages can occur in friendships as well.
Okay.
But I mean, we're going to talk to one of my friends about it later, so maybe that'll give you a little more insight into why me and my friends discuss love languages.
Fair enough. All right. It just seems like this is not something that would come up in a natural conversation I would have with anybody I talk to at all. Like, yeah, like me and Emily got into a fight and it was over something that didn't hit the compatibility of my love languages. So, Jim, what do you think I should do? Do you think?
No, it's usually more like in the context of good things or in reference to each other. But it is something that we talk about.
Interesting. I would just love to be a fly on the wall when that finds its way into a conversation, just so naturally. Like
next time it comes up, I'll let you know.
Okay.
So anyway, what are the 5 love languages? Basically, this psychiatrist guy, Gary Chapman, I think his name is, he put together this quiz, wrote this book about 5 love languages and what they are and what they mean. So you've got number 1, words of affirmation. That's stuff like, good job, I'm proud of you, like, you're doing great at whatever it is that you're doing. Like, just basically, like, giving an attaboy,
Yes.
Be a hype man.
This is gonna be my role.
Okay.
I'm gonna interpret what I think these mean.
Okay.
For our relationship.
Okay.
All right.
Uh-huh.
So words of affirmation. Good job, Wingnut.
Yes.
Thanks for making this for me.
Exactly.
There's a lot that goes behind the thanks for making this for me.
Yes.
It's very similar to the what happened to that lady.
It's one of those inside jokes that's just not worth explaining, but makes us laugh.
It does.
Okay, so number 2, these aren't in any particular order, by the way. Acts of service. So that's like when they do a chore that you hate doing. Like I hate washing dishes because it grosses me out, or like they run an errand for you, or they just do something specific for you without you asking, or maybe you did ask or whatever, that's helping you through the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think like you mentioned earlier, like for me, that's washing the pans for you.
Yes.
For you, it is getting stuff for me when I'm sick.
Yes.
That doesn't happen often though.
Oh no, not at all.
No. Or me ordering dinner when it's 8:00 or so, and you're just like, me, I don't want to do it. I do not want to do it. Yes.
And you pull out the Uber Eats.
I do.
And I pull out the thanks for making this for me.
Yes. Exactly. See? All right. Good times.
Okay, so then you've got receiving gifts. That one's
Uber Eats.
pretty self-explanatory. And it doesn't have to be like gift, but it can be like, oh, like I went to the store and I picked up a Snickers bar because like I know that you like Snickers and I saw it and thought of you, kind of thing. So it could be as simple as that.
So this gift giving thing, like
Yes.
when I was looking at this, like I thought gifts, not like a Snickers bar.
Okay, yeah.
So I was thinking, right off the bat, like for us,
Mhm.
this is almost impossible
Yes.
because we are so particular about everything that we have,
Yes.
or everything that we have, want, need,
That we want,
whatever, that we can't really buy things for each other.
Yeah.
We-
You especially.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's just the way it is. Just is what it is. I'm sure, there's. I'm not going to make this a sexist thing,
Okay.
but
Which means it's probably gonna be sexist.
no, I don't think it will be. I'm gonna try to walk the line here. All right, but what I see a lot, and I think is hilarious, and I'm just glad that we don't buy each other gifts like this. But husband's like, yeah, I want that new. I don't know. Let's go back in the 80s, I guess. That new VCR.
Mhm.
Ah, yeah, it sounds awesome. And then the wife goes and buys the VCR, but it's the wrong speed. It's got the wrong connections. There's so many things that can go wrong with buying somebody a VCR, like buying someone
A VCR?
Yeah, like that.
Really dating yourself here, babe.
Everybody had a damn VCR, okay? Everybody, well, not everybody who's alive today, but you get the point. Point is, men and women both receive the shittiest gifts
Mhm.
from their other half,
Mhm.
and they just don't have the mental capacity to ruin their day and say that's not right.
Right.
You did it wrong.
Right.
At least we acknowledge that. All right, continue.
Okay, so then we've got quality time. So like going on a trip together, having a date night, even just maybe like running errands together, like just spending time together rather than apart, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I think this one for us, like
Mhm.
this puts us in that like super cliche
Mhm.
environment
Yeah.
because we are definitely that couple.
Oh yeah,
Like
we're so annoying.
I'm just like running this through in my head right now, and it's like, yes, we enjoy long walks on the bay. Emily likes to snuggle up with a good book. John will do everything in his power to not read a book. So
Yeah, no, we are really cliche because we just do everything together.
yeah, well,
It's really annoying
what's
of us.
funny, I was thinking about this. I'm like, oh yeah, like the walks on the beach, and
Hmm.
I'm like, wait, that is us. I was
Yeah,
like,
that
Jesus,
literally is us.
oh
We
God,
just did that last night.
we do that regularly. But for all of you folks out there that are vomiting in your passenger seat right now, um, please keep in mind that most of the time we are sitting on the couch ignoring each other.
Yes.
That is how we love to spend time with each other.
Yes.
It's proximity.
Yes. And then the last one you've got physical touch. So hugging, cuddling, holding hands. I'm sure having sex is part of that, but really just like putting an arm around you, touching your lower back while you walk by, that kind of stuff.
I think this one is where we clash.
You have the most repulsed look on your face right now.
Why?
You look like you grossed out.
No, 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 no. I'm not grossed out.
Okay.
I just think that this is something that we definitely clash in because
Mhm.
I'm not a very like touchy feely person.
Right.
I do have my moments,
Yeah.
when
You
it's
do.
appropriate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just typically like I'm not a hand holder like in public, like,
Yeah.
and it's not really because I don't want to hold your hand. It's just it's hot.
Yeah.
Me holding hand hot.
Mhm.
Don't like.
Right.
And it just makes me uncomfortable. So I would rather just be comfortable and talk to you
Mhm.
instead of have my hand up your ass. And
Yeah, I don't. The hand holding. I think it may have bothered me at one point, but like it doesn't really bother me, and I don't even think about it. So now, when we do randomly hold hands, I'm always like, okay, like when is this gonna stop?
right, right. It's one of those things that I think like you're forced into thinking is cute.
Right.
Like oh my, they don't hold hands when they walk to each other. They don't really love each other.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of see the
Mhm.
hand holding. So that's one of my protests in life, I think,
Yes.
without really knowing it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it doesn't matter. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the 5 love languages, and then I guess the question is, how do you find out what your love language actually is?
You have your wife present this topic and tell you that there is a such thing as love languages.
Yes. So, you can, yeah, it's basically, you can Google it. Like, just Google the love languages. The first thing that's going to come up is the 5 love languages, and you can take a quiz. I mean, you might know, like, just who you are as a person. You might think that you know just based off of me telling you what these 5 love languages are, what yours is, but I think the quiz helps a little bit to get a better understanding.
Maybe for you.
Maybe for me. So I took the quiz. Did you take the quiz?
I did.
Do you wanna talk about this here quiz?
I mean, I'm waiting to hear what yours said.
You want me to go first?
You know what mine says.
Yeah, so mine was actually a little surprising, and I took it twice because I thought it was going to be different. I
Interesting.
really did. That my two.
You thought it was going to be receiving gifts was like 100%?
Yeah, because
Right.
I really like getting gifts.
Yeah.
I thought my 2 at the bottom were going to be at the top.
And just so everybody knows, I didn't ask her for her results. I did not know they were a thing. I just know she likes gifts
That's true.
because when we're together, she acts happy when I give her gifts. I did not need a quiz to tell me this.
Anyways, like I said, I was a little. In the moment I was a little surprised, but looking at it and then now like talking through it, I feel like it actually kind of makes sense. So I came up, my number one, 29%, was words of affirmation. And that makes sense to me because I like to be told I'm doing a good job because I think I'm stupid and I ruin everything. So if you tell me that I'm not stupid, I'm like, cool, that's great. Quality time was next. That's pretty obvious. We just talked about how we're annoying and spend all of our time together anyway. Acts of service, 16%. I honestly thought that one might be more too because I really, really appreciate it when you do shit that I don't want to do. I really, really appreciate when you clean the nasty, dirty dishes. It just makes my day.
Yes, and don't cook my hot dog chili. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I can cook it in your presence. I just cannot put it on the hot dog
Yes.
in your presence.
I can't look at it. It's
Right.
disgusting.
Yes. Love language, baby.
Yes.
Don't put your chili on my hot dog until I'm ready.
That's what she said. And then receiving gifts was 16% and physical touch was 13%. I think the physical touch thing surprised me more, but it makes sense after having talked about it because I do like, like we're in the kitchen and you have to walk by me, you just do like a little like shoulder tap or something like that. I'm always like, oh, like, ooh, got a little, feeling. I like to hug and stuff like that, but I don't crave the hand holding. I don't crave the walking arm in arm or,
And I think I did this to you.
I think you did, and I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I think maybe when I was taking the quiz, because the quiz is going to ask you questions. It's going to be like, what do you prefer more? What makes you feel better? And it's going to present you with options. And I think when I was taking the quiz and certain things like would come up about physical touch, I was thinking more of like a public kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's where my brain was. So I think that's why I came down so low. Because I will make you hug me for 30 seconds, but I won't do that when we're out in public,
Right.
So that's my results. I was a little surprised, but it makes sense.
It's really interesting because mine and yours are almost identical.
Yeah.
Except for the one thing that we'll get to.
Because I don't remember. I remember the one thing, but I don't remember yours.
Yeah. So mine, I think, was the exact same order.
Okay.
So my first one's quality time. Was yours words of affirmation?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are switched.
Okay.
But my quality time was 33%. Words of affirmation were 27%.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my two tops. Acts of service and receiving gifts were both 20%.
Mm-hmm.
And physical touch was 0. So this is where...
Don't talk to me.
This is where I feel the quiz was a bit off.
Yeah.
I mean, basically... The quiz was putting the touch options against things that are really cool. Like,
yeah, that's how I felt too.
Okay, is it more meaningful for you to hold hands with your partner or go to Aruba? You tell me.
It wasn't that serious.
It was in my mind.
You're right though, because it was like,
it's like, do I want to go like hiking in a rainforest with you, or do I want to hold your hand? Of course I want to go fucking hiking in a rainforest.
Right. Yeah.
Who wouldn't want
right.
to?
Yeah.
They even have spiders, and I would still rather do that than hold a fucking hand.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it's like, do you want to hold a hand or do you want your partner to bring you home a candy bar when they go to the store? I want the fucking candy. They kept putting physical touch against really annoying things.
Right. Yeah, that was the same thing I had. And what's funny is you said you took the quiz twice.
I did.
I was thinking, maybe I should do this again. And I was like, I don't have time for this shit. I'd rather play solitaire on my phone.
Yeah, I did take it twice because I was shocked. Because I've never actually taken the quiz before. That was the first time. I've known about love languages for a while. But...
So you and your friends are all fakers. Like, you're just like, oh, yeah, my love language is...
No,
I don't know. I haven't taken the test.
I'm the faker.
I just like gifts. I saw that on the list, so I chose it.
I'm the faker. No, I know for a fact that at least Taylor has taken it before because we talked about it. And she's going to talk to us about her results later, too.
Woo woo.
Woo woo.
Do you want to put bets on what she is?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Okay. I'm going to... Ooh... I'm gonna say she is. I don't know percentages, but I'm gonna say acts of service, gifts, quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation.
I am going to disagree. My number one was going to be words of affirmation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my number one for Taylor.
Okay.
I think it might be very similar to mine.
I mean, you guys are the same fucking person.
I know. It might be very... I think the top two are going to possibly be the same, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see when we talk to her. So clearly, we have... we're very similar. This is annoying. I thought we were going to be more different. I kind of did. Because I was going to say, like, clearly we have different things going on, and it works for us. So maybe can you have incompatible love languages and still make things work out? But our shit, we're just too alike.
Yes.
That's very frustrating.
And I know that because of this quiz. Thank you, quiz. What's his name?
I think it's Gary Chapman.
Yes. Thank you, Gary. My middle name's Gary.
It is.
We are friends.
So that was going to be my segue into whether or not you can have incompatible love languages, but we're just a little bit too compatible. So I'm just going to have to jump right into it. I wanted to know if there was anything on the internet about like having incompatible love languages, if there was anything that you could like, if there were studies or things like that. None of this is very scientific though. That's the problem. So it's kind of hard to find. Basically what I did find though is that you can have mismatched love languages. That can happen. When it happens, it can lead to conflict, but that can be resolved by making an effort to understand one another better, or maybe like changing your love languages. Like if yours is receiving gifts, but your partner is a really shitty gift giver, maybe learn to appreciate the acts of service that they do for you more over time. And that's actually, you know what? You can do that because I think that I changed a part of my love language when we got together. I think I definitely would have described myself as more physical touch, touchy-feely in the past, but now it's not as important to me.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
It's you know, it all comes down to understanding your partner, right? We can boil this entire podcast down to that.
Okay. So there are things out there where people are talking about their incompatibility with love languages and so on.
Mhm.
All right. So this is where I get a little confused when it comes to stuff like this.
Okay.
When I think about this scenario where you take the time to identify love languages as the root cause of your relationship issues,
Mhm.
it's a very funny scenario in my mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh God.
This is a great example of why I have problems with methodologies in general. People,
John hates science.
oh, I don't hate science. I hate methodologies, and I don't even hate methodologies. But I'll get into it. All right. People really latch onto them and use them as a crutch or as an excuse or even as a root cause of their problems, as we're discussing
Mhm.
here with incompatibilities and so on.
Mhm.
But what I've really observed over time is something that I like to call methodology abuse.
Okay.
Okay. Just so everybody's aware, I do believe that I invented this. I mean, Google never heard of it. So there. That being said, I don't really have an official like definition for what I like to call the methodology abuse,
Mhm.
but I can break it down into 3 categories. Okay.
Okay.
So for the first one, you have those that are dependent on methodologies.
Mhm.
Those folks that use these like they're the freaking Bible. It's the end all be all. This is right. Everything else is wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They,
Like purists.
yeah, I mean, they just really like leave no room for interpretation and flexibility
Mhm.
within the methodology itself.
Mhm.
And, it just really doesn't work out a lot of the times. So,
Right.
like, if you just don't fit the profile to a T, you don't work for me.
Right.
It is basically what that means. The first, what is this category? Is that what I call it? Yes, the first category.
Okay.
So, the second one, those that are blinded by methodologies.
Okay.
Okay. So focusing so intensely on the methodology and trying to figure out why everything in your life is wrong because it doesn't fit the profile of the methodology.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So you are more focused on why my life doesn't fit the methodology versus why do I give a shit?
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So there you go. So now you're blinding yourself because you think that you should be fitting into this methodology that people are telling you should.
Mhm.
So the third one, those that use them for malicious purposes.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, these people are using them as an excuse as to why they're shitty people. Right. So here's an example.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Sorry, babe. The 5 love languages said that I have 0 score for physical touch. Guess we ain't doing that no more.
Right.
Silly example, but you get the point. The people that don't fully commit to a methodology but like to use them selectively to their advantage, kind of like you and being a faker, 5 love language faker to your friends. Yeah, that is methodology abuse, 100%.
I'm not You know what's funny is that I can think of someone in my life who I'm not gonna say too much, but who's definitely done that.
Yeah. I don't know who that is. Nope. Anyways, that was a very long way of me saying that in a scenario like this, where you are allowing a silly methodology to influence conflict in your relationship, you should probably be spending a little more time trying to resolve your problems in a way that might work for you rather than trying to change your relationship to fit a methodology.
Right.
So, but what I will say is I do agree that partners should make an attempt to understand each other, but I do draw the line at making adjustments to your relationship to better align with the methodology. This is a bit cultish to me.
No, yeah, I think if you're doing it in the name of this 5 love languages, that's a problem, but I do also think that it's okay to make changes that aren't super important to you in order to be a better partner.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, so let's say you buy into this, you take the quiz, you're really all about the love language thing. How important are they actually to your relationship? It it depends, I guess, if you put value on it or not. But let's just assume you're putting value in it. I'm not completely sold, so that's why I feel a little wishy-washy here.
Fair enough.
If you put value into it, then understanding your partner's love language can establish an emotional connection. You can get to know them on a deeper level. It can be a return to the honeymoon phase, like you get that little rush feeling of falling in love. And I have an example of that just happened today. We were talking about our friend, and she had made a joke saying that she thought that you hated her, and you were upset about that, and you told me to tell her I don't hate her. She's very important to me because she brought you to me. And when you said that, this is the friend who introduced us, my heart exploded. I was like, oh my God, that is the sweetest thing. I want to kiss your face off. I love you.
I didn't say that.
You did.
Nope.
So yeah.
Do I need to go over my results again?
No, it's just funny because when I was looking this up, I think this came from like a how does love language affect your marriage kind of thing. And when I saw that it can be a return to the honeymoon phase, I was like, okay, that's a little extreme. Like that's a little like, come on. But then you said something earlier that made me like heart flutter, and I was like, oh wow, okay, this happened. And it's not the first time you made my heart flutter in the last 6 years. I'm just saying it was just funny that it happened today.
Well, that last time was a technicality.
There was a defibrillator involved in that one. So I guess what I had originally put under this was that makes sense if you're continuously doing things to appease their love language. Because I guess I thought like by honeymoon phase they meant like a stretched out period of time, but now I understand better that it's more of a moment.
Yeah.
And that moment is very meaningful.
Well, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier about like methodology abuse. Like you have to allow for interpretation.
Yes.
You have to allow for that because it's not going to mean the same thing to everybody.
Right.
And that's what I just hate about certain folks and getting involved in these methodologies because they just there is no room for flexibility. There is no room for interpretation. And if you say something that goes against their interpretation of it, let me try that again. Your thing lit up. No snotting on the microphone. If you I forgot where the hell I was going with this. I know where I was going with it, but I don't remember how I said it. The way I said it the first time was horrible, but it was right. And now I don't remember the right way to say it better.
I don't even remember what you said the first time.
So the first thing, what I was saying is if you try to go against somebody's interpretation of a methodology with your own interpretation, you are incorrect because their interpretation is better than yours.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So your interpretation doesn't count because it's not how they see the methodology.
Right. Yeah. That's the problem with this whole thing being like a concept. There's not, yeah. That's why I'm not totally sold on it. But anyway, how important is it to your relationship? It promotes healthy communication. I do kind of agree with that. Like if you're just being clear about what you want and what you need out of the relationship and you're understanding what your partner wants and needs, that's all fine and dandy. That's great. And it can lead to long-term satisfaction, which again, like if you have healthy communication, again, if you just, it boils down to how well do you understand your partner and how much do you care about how you understand them.
I think like my interpretation
Mhm.
of love, like before getting into the 5 love languages, like the crap I was talking about earlier, the what happened to that lady?
Yeah.
You know, that stuff is very important to me.
Mhm.
Those are things that I can hold on to and that I know it's like it's in our little vault
Right.
of awesome.
Right.
We have these things that nobody else understands, but the problem with us is we just have so many of them
Yes.
that people don't understand us anymore.
Yes. It's like having your own culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
So I've said it already. I still don't know. I don't know how I feel about this whole love language thing. So I had to look it up. Like, are the 5 love languages legit, or is this Gary Chapman guy just a dork? I love that word, dork. It's such a good word.
It's a whale penis.
What?
You would think whales have balls?
I don't know. I don't really want to think about that, to be honest.
You don't know what a dork is?
No.
A dork is a whale penis.
What? It is not. We're Googling this right now. Definition of dork: an odd, socially awkward, unstylish person.
A dork is actually the penis, usually used in references to whales.
I don't believe that.
Look up whale penis.
I'm looking at Merriam-Webster. How do you spell anatomy? That's not how you spell it, but it worked. Yeah, okay, this says it on Wikipedia, but Wikipedia, no, this is bullshit. I don't believe you. I think this is something that was made up.
I mean, I'm looking at least the full first page of Google talking about whale penises.
Oh, you have a fucked up algorithm, my friend.
Yeah. That's what it is. I didn't just make this up.
All right, so are the 5 love languages real, or is Gary Chapman just a whale penis? Okay, so I consulted this Elite Daily article. Just they interviewed or they asked a bunch of like psychiatrists and psychologists what they thought about the whole topic. It seems to be a generally agreed upon thing among experts. The one thing that kept coming up is love is a noun and a verb. So the way that we show and receive love is important. Like love is not just like, oh, I love that guy. Like love is an action that you can take. And that's kind of where they tie in the love language thing. It's also generally agreed upon that it is much more complicated than just 5 things. Like, we are not one thing. Humans contain multitudes, relationships contain multitudes, and you might not even understand your own. Like, you might take a quiz and lean one way because that's how you feel or you think. I mean, the quiz is really like, when you're answering the questions, they're leading questions. You know exactly what they're asking. You can tailor it to whatever you think you want it to be.
Of course.
So I just found something interesting within the article that a lot of men say that their love language is physical touch, but when they are asked questions by a psychologist or something outside of the quiz, these studies find that men actually yearn for attention and words of affirmation. So I think that that also lends itself to me being surprised by my quiz results because I was just so sure. Like, I love receiving gifts. I know that's going to be my number one. And I probably could have taken the test in a way where I let it to be that.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it seems like the concept of love being a verb is what is generally agreed upon in the scientific realm, but the 5 themselves, while they're good to give an explanation or give a sense of context, it's more complicated than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty clear how I felt about the 5 love languages before we started.
Yeah.
Very clear.
Yeah.
So it might be a little surprising when I change my tone a bit. I know, right?
Wow.
I know. That's a shocker.
It actually is.
Yeah, I knew it would. That's why I didn't say a damn word about this before we got here at all. But no, seriously though, like after like careful consideration, I really don't fully despise this, and I'll get into why. But am I going to follow it?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not going to follow it. I have the ability to assess dynamic situations on my own, and I try very hard to be just as mindful of Emily's needs as I am my own.
Woo woo.
So I try that. But not everyone has the same level of mindfulness for their partners.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's because they don't care or that they don't try. I just think some people don't think like that, or they may be distracted with life, kids, family, work. The list goes on, really. I personally think this is actually kind of an awesome tool to use just for generalized awareness.
Okay.
Okay. Here's your reminder that you need to tell your partner you love them sometimes. Give them a kiss. Spend quality time with them. This is not a bad reminder. It's not a bad checklist. So I honestly think this is a well-rounded checklist for mindfulness, as long as it's used as a tool and not a sacred scroll of mystical secrets of the universe.
Right. Yeah.
That's where I think you really got to ground yourself. So,
right.
and if I catch you trying to use this to determine why you're not compatible, I will actually do nothing to help or harm. I will simply allow you to continue in your own ignorance. Don't be a methodology abuser. Balls.
That's the John Shackland special right there. I'm going to let you deal with it yourself, idiot.
So yeah, are you shocked? Are you a little surprised?
I am. I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I did not see you being open-minded about this.
Yeah.
I really did not.
Well, I look at like what I do on a daily basis. Like I have so many things that I have to be attentive to with work and managing, multiple teams and, doing all of these things, giving my status updates, I would not function without a daily checklist.
Yeah.
I have a list that I go through every single day. It's like, all right, did you wipe your ass after you took a shit? That's not really on my list, but I do have a lot of things on my list that are very important, that are very easy to forget.
Yeah.
Like recognizing talent. You have somebody on your team that did something good today. One of the checklist items on the that I have at the end of the day to close my day out is, did you forget to recognize somebody?
Right.
And then I force myself to go back and just like retrospectively think about that and say, yes, I actually did forget to recognize this person. Let me fix that.
Right.
So I put myself guardrails up all the time for literally everything I do. But I'm flexible with it.
Right.
I'm understanding.
Yeah.
I know that if I don't hit every one of those check boxes every day, it's not going to be the end of the world. But as long, and with something like this, as long as you just are mindful, that's all your partner wants.
Right.
That's it. They're not asking for more.
Yeah.
They want you to wink at them every once in a while. They want you to be like, oh my God, you dropped your coffee? Let me go get you another one, even though we live in a city and I have to walk there.
I dropped my coffee again today.
That is love language to me. I think trying to put a methodology around something is very... I'm not going to say important or unimportant or whatever it is, because like I said, I hate methodologies. Use them when you need them.
It's rigid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Use them when you need them.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, I think that was my issue, or is still kind of my issue. It's just the rigidity of it.
Yeah.
Like I think that everything that you say I agree with, and I think that the concept of understanding your partner, understanding the way that they give and receive love is very important. Acknowledging them, all that stuff. Just the rigidity of those 5. Well, again, my issue with the 5 is just the 5 themselves. So I was looking to see if there was any other kind of perspectives out there. I happened upon this article that's the 7 new love languages, and it's still rigid to me, but it makes a little more sense. It's a little more broad than the other ones. Broad and specific at the same time, but we'll get into it. You've got activity, so like doing things together, showing an interest in each other's hobbies and activities that you like to do. I'm really bad at that. You tend to change your hobbies a lot, and I tend to tune it out, so I apologize.
So I actually kind of like this the breaking out of activity
Mhm.
because in the 5 you just have quality time,
Right.
which if we're going to be following this rigidity,
Mhm.
quality time doesn't really mean activities
Right.
necessarily. You know, I think when you think of like quality time, you think what do you think?
Well, that's the thing. Everybody thinks something different, don't they?
Maybe.
Like to me, in the context of our relationship, quality time is the times that we spend, like when we're eating dinner together, when we're watching a show that we like together, when we go on our walks, when
Yeah.
we, like go grocery shopping
But
together.
do you consider like a hike quality time?
Yeah,
Do you?
I do.
I don't.
No.
I mean, I think it's quality time, but it's not like you're intently focused on each other
Okay, yeah,
for
you're
quality
not focused on
time.
like a conversation.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Like
Okay.
when I think quality time, I think like that is us.
Right.
We are focusing on each other.
Right. Okay.
But activity, you out there.
Yeah.
You want to go see some cool shit in the rainforest.
Right. You're doing something together.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's a neat twist.
Like
And I think for those people that, you know, look at this as the Bible,
Mhm.
that'll be good because they'll get out of the house.
right. Yes.
They might forget if this thing doesn't tell them to
Yeah.
do it.
Yes. So you got that one. You've got appreciation. So like that's a little, I feel like words of affirmation, but like compliments, praise, admiration. You're so good at this. Like good job. It's basically like a praise kink kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like good girl.
Yeah, I see the point. I'm not. I haven't fully placed the other half of acts of service, so let's see where this goes.
This one confuses me a little bit. It's emotional. So like feeling connected, getting each other through tough times.
This is my quality time versus activity.
Right, but then there was the specificity of getting each other through tough times.
Emotional support, basically.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And I am your emotional support human.
And that kind of covers both of those areas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the other one doesn't have anything for emotional support
No,
at all.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
You've got financial, which is different than gift giving because this is specifically generous with money or showing that you're valued through resources. A little bit of a sugar daddy situation, but also
This is starting to sound a little fabricated to me. I was on board until we got here, okay?
But I get it.
Are you making this shit up?
No, I'm just saying I get it.
Taking advantage of the fact that I didn't know what love languages were.
No, I'm not doing that.
Now you're just putting words out there. Yeah. Oh yes. Now next week there's going to be 10 love languages. Where are we at right now? This is 7. Okay, so 8 is give me the money. 9, take me to the dinner. And 10, give me the lay down. What up? High five. Yes.
Oh gosh. I
This-
swear
this-
to God I did not
This
make
is a
up.
perfect example of methodology abuse, by the way.
Yes.
Yes. Injecting your own. Yeah. Okay, fine. Continue.
He ain't saying she a gold digger. Intellectual. So when your partner thinks you're smart, values your input, and you have thoughtful discussion of important issues.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I'm a dumb bitch, so that doesn't work for us.
Whatever. Oh, God.
What?
You just piss me off. I now I know this isn't fake.
This is for
You
real.
wouldn't have put intellectual in here. You'd take my money and fucking leave before we get to the intellectual part.
No, but yeah, that one makes sense too. You know, like feeling like your thoughts and opinions and your input is valued, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a little problem with that one because I always like in a relationship, there's always going to be one overachiever.
Yeah.
There always is. It just happens. And if there's 2 of you, then you probably don't spend time together at all.
Right.
But the point, the thing I don't like about this one being here is that both of you might not be intellectuals.
Yeah.
This is a very one-sided thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, I think for us, I think that we have our own
strengths and weaknesses.
Yes, we do. We already know that. We hear it every time we do this freaking podcast. But yeah, I don't know that everybody has that thing.
Yeah.
So maybe they should add like a smarts test first.
You have to take an IQ test
before you get into relationship.
Yes.
Before you start the 7 love languages, are you smart?
You have to play 5 rounds of Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader?
Yes. It's the prerequisite for this course.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
This one also has physical, so touching, hugging, holding hands, cuddling. I think that's always going to be a part of it because that's just part of intimacy in general, right?
Yes.
I mean, you can't not. I mean, I guess you could not touch your partner, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, my 5 love language quiz tells me that I have 0% touchability, but that's wrong.
You a cuddle bug.
No, I am not a cuddle bug at all. No.
Sometimes.
But I'm okay in certain situations if I get touched.
That's what she said. And then the last one.
Is that like woke? Like I've been touched. I'm woke.
I don't know.
Is that the same?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. 40-year-old interpretation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is this our first podcast where you're 40?
Yes.
Oh my God. Happy birthday, babe.
Is it? No.
No, we did the other one.
Yeah, we did this already.
Yeah.
No, you didn't tell me happy birthday on my first podcast birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh my
I
goodness.
love you.
You bad.
Yeah. And
You failed. You need a checklist. Yeah, Google reminder. Birthday.
I never check my Google reminders. And then the last one is practical. Chipping in with everyday activities, taking turns doing a task. The way that I interpreted this is life is a group project that we are doing together. And I kind of like that one.
Yeah.
Practicality is, it's like when people, we don't really do it as much anymore, but people used to be surprised when I would say, like, God, I love grocery shopping with John. Like, I love going grocery shopping together. Like, it's just fun. We have fun doing it. People would be like, oh my God, like, I can't, nope, I have to leave my husband at home. He's like a little kid with his hands sticking out of the cart. That's a solo activity.
Well, it's because we are both in the cart.
We're both the kids in the cart buying whatever we want.
One of us has a broom, one of us has a mop, and we sail through the grocery store.
We're not a couple. We're just 2 kids in a trench coat on each other's shoulders.
I was starting to get a little concerned with where you were going with this trench coat, but then I was like, oh yeah, little rascals. Yes. You don't even know who they are.
I don't.
Yes. Alfalfa. No.
I got nothing.
Damn. All right. Buckwheat. Nothing?
No.
Oh my God. What are you parents teaching your children these days?
You don't want to talk about my parents. But no, this one, out of all of these, this one resonates the most with me. At least in the way that I interpreted it. Because life is a group project that we are doing together. You know? We got shit we got to get done. We might as well enjoy doing it together. Right?
Absolutely.
So.
If you're not enjoying that time, then maybe you should take a 5 hate languages quiz.
Oh my God, we should make that.
Oh, check that out.
That sounds like fun.
5 hate languages.
I'm such a hater. I would love that.
Ah, interesting. Well, there we go.
Follow up.
Yep. I don't even know if we should put that in the episode. I don't want people to take it.
TM.
Well, I think that just about wraps it up, folks. Yeah. Let's see here. Record love languages episode. Done. Get social engagement. What does that mean again, Emily?
Oh, maybe we ask people to follow us on Instagram and Twitter and email us and call us and give us stories and be our friends, please, God.
Comment, like, subscribe.
Yes.
Comment, like, subscribe. Check. That's done.
Write a review. I mean, something. God. Pay attention to me.
Anyways, folks, the important lesson of the day is Emily needs too much attention. I created the first anti-methodology. That's right. The methodology abuse. Wait. The methodology abuse methodology? Does that sound right?
I think that's what you did.
Awesome. You can expect the book at your local bookstore after I learn how to read.
Okay, so now we're going to talk to our good friend, my best friend, Taylor. She is, I don't know what to say. She's really cool. And when we were talking about this topic, she was like, oh my gosh, like I want to talk about that. So we were like, cool, let's get you on. And here she is.
Here I am.
So John and I talked yesterday, and you have our, everything that we kind of talked about. I think where we landed was John surprised me in his feelings about the topic. I'm kind of like, I'm not sure if I buy into this love language bullshit. So I think I might need some convincing.
You need convincing?
Yeah, right? Isn't that weird?
Is that because you talked to John about it?
No, and that's the funny thing. Okay, so here's what it is. Let's go through. We already went through our quiz results, but we can just tell you real quick, and then you can tell us yours, and then I'll tell you why I was kind of skeptical. Okay. So for me, my number one was words of affirmation, then quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts, and then physical touch. And that was like the complete opposite of what I thought it was going to be, like going into it. Because I've never taken this quiz before, actually. This was the first time I ever did it. And then John.
I'm honestly surprised your number one is words of affirmation.
Me too. Because
you don't take this the wrong way. You don't like receive compliments well from anybody.
I know. That's my therapist tells me that every single week.
She's a closet affirmation person. She doesn't like to let people know, but deep down inside she's collecting affirmation.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying that's why I was surprised and why I'm like a little skeptical of the whole thing. But then John's was really similar to mine, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean almost identical. The only two main things happened here. One of which is my top is quality time. Emily's was words of affirmation. So we flipped there. Everything else was in line. My physical touch was on the bottom of the list, but it was at 0%.
Whoa.
Yes. Yeah. Now here's my argument. Okay. I do feel like I don't, I'm not a touchy-feely person. It's just not my thing. But the quiz itself was like giving me options that just didn't align. So it's like, would you rather hold your partner's hand in public, or would you rather go to Bora Bora? Like, okay, well, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to Bora Bora. Like
everybody would rather take a trip than hold their partner's hand. Right. But I understand your point.
Yeah, every question that had to do with touch, it had the something cooler on the other side. So it just, I don't feel like it was very well balanced in how it did its thing to me.
So what is yours though? Because we did. I don't think I want to tell you. I think we'll wait till this comes out and you can hear our guesses. But we did guess what we thought yours was going to be yesterday.
Oh, okay.
It's just funny because like I don't think I like. Okay, this is a funny thing that John was like confused about, because I mentioned that like I never took the quiz before, but this is something that we've talked about. Like it's in our lexicon, right? Like we've discussed it in like the group chat and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "How does this even come up with your friends?" Like he couldn't understand how we have talked about it before. And I was like, well, we talk about it all the time.
Right. And I think we have a good balance in our friend group of married and serious relationships versus single people. And these both apply to those super polarized ends of the relationship spectrum, which I think is why we talk about it so much.
Right. Yeah.
But I also don't think men sit around and discuss, I mean, they're not like, oh, this is my Myers-Briggs type. They're definitely not getting into love languages.
Yeah. You'll
but
find.
I feel like it is.
when you listen back.
I've never even heard of it before I said it. But I think, I don't know, I feel like women intuitively want to just learn more about themselves because we don't learn anything about ourselves in school or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's more normal for females in relationships, whether you're very serious or very single, to kind of think about how you would do this whole love thing in a relationship. So I don't think it's that weird for us to talk about it as much as we do.
Yeah.
John.
No,
I couldn't imagine the conversation that or what led to the conversation. That's where I was having the problem. I'm thinking to myself like, okay, I mean, do you guys as a friend group like set time aside to talk about your love languages and how you're unsatisfied with life because whomever you're diddling at the moment isn't satisfying your love language? I mean,
No,
No.
I think the same thing that happens in a relationship happens in our little group chat, or when we're all talking about this stuff, is like something happens that raises a flag in our brains to be
Mhm.
like, ah, that's why this isn't working, or that's why this
Yeah.
is working. And then when we talk about said relationship, it just kind of gets folded in.
Yeah.
so
And
is this like the female equivalent of I'd hit that?
no. No.
Oh, did I
Uh,
did I miss the
no.
bar?
You missed the bar.
Damn.
But the other thing is that I think that we, and especially like our friend group, just because we've been friends for so long and like
Hmm.
we're so like personal, like our friendship is a relationship in and of itself. So we can use this
Right.
in response to each other. But all that being said, I realize that we've talked about this, but I don't actually know what your quiz results are. So what
Right.
what
Oh,
are
right.
they?
You asked me that.
See if
Okay.
I was right. I don't even remember what I guessed yesterday, honestly.
My number one
Mm.
is quality time.
Okay.
Number two is acts of service.
Mhm.
Number three, and this one shocked me, but I have a whole theory on it, so I'm
Okay.
putting a pin in it,
Okay.
is physical touch. Number four is receiving gifts, and then number five is words of affirmation. So that's
Okay.
also why I was very shocked that your number one was words of affirmation, because my number five was words of
Right.
affirmation with 10%. Like, like I
Yeah.
do not love it.
Yeah, that again, yeah, I was surprised too. But I think like in the context of like the quiz, it kind of makes sense because it's like, yeah, I hate when people like compliment me or like when they're like trying to tell me like I'm doing a good job, I like, make a joke out of it. But at the same time, like I don't want to be told I'm dumb. So, you know.
Right. And I also think it depends on who these things are coming from. Like, obviously, if anybody gives you a compliment, you might cringe, but if it's coming from John,
Right.
it's different.
Yeah.
Just like I retook this yesterday.
Mhm.
And I remember a while back when I first took it, physical touch was at least 4, if not the last one, like
Right.
John's, which might be a Virgo thing. But now it's number 3, and the percentage is tied with number 2. They're both 20%. So I
Right.
feel like that's my theory, is like as you grow in a relationship with someone, it could change. Like,
Yeah.
now I would love for Rob to hold my hand, or if I'm like triggered by my family, if he just like comes up and puts his hand on my back just to
Right.
like let me know he's there, I'm
Yeah.
not going to be like, ah, where's my family, get off. It's
Can I
like a different type of comfort and support. And I think as you grow in a relationship, this stuff changes, and it's like kind of good of a practice to keep tabs on what you like and what you don't like.
100%.
Yeah, one thing I'll ask though, just out of pure curiosity, this just hit me.
Mhm.
Do you think that other I guess inside factors might play into your answers now versus when you took it before? Do you think that the current state of affairs might make you desire more physical
He's trying
touch?
so hard not to say pregnant.
Yes.
It's straining his face.
I don't know who knows and who doesn't. I have to be very careful.
John, the world knows. Yet again, get on Instagram.
You know what? Last time I did
But-
that, Emily joked my hashtagging skills, so I'm not opening that door again. All right.
No, it is public knowledge, and I think yes, probably a little bit,
Mhm.
but I think being in my quote current state of affairs, I'm a little more emotional or hormonal or whatever you want to call it. So it's still applicable whether or not it's because of something that's happening right now. It could change in 6 months.
Right.
But it was interesting taking it right now and seeing. I mean, it's. I don't know why it's not number 2 if it's the same percentage. That was
Yeah.
very shocking to me,
Yeah.
because I cringe at PDA when anybody else does it.
Same.
But I still feel like, I don't know. I was very surprised. So I guess I'll have to retake it in 6 months, and I'll get back to you, John.
All right. Pause.
After your current condition. Yeah, no, I I like what you were saying about it changing over time because I think that I kind of felt that way too. I thought that for me, that physical touch was going to be higher up and not like the last one.
Hmm.
I think that to John's point, like the quiz makes it seem like there's other things that are cooler than like holding hands or like having an arm wrapped around you, so that's why it
Right.
falls down. I think that had I taken this quiz 6 years ago, physical touch would have been higher up there, but now like having been with John for so long and knowing like he doesn't like to hold hands, like he's not a super touchy-feely person and I've adapted to that, it's become less important to me.
Right.
So,
And I think that I actually did make a note in my little brain dump,
mhm,
considering how my stuff changed, and then now hearing how yours
mhm.
changed. I think at the beginning of a relationship, it's like the feeling it out type
Yeah.
situation, like what do they like or whatever.
Mhm.
But even at this point, and I can say that because we both have been in relationships for a significant amount of time,
Mhm.
even if you can tell your partner's doing something that misses the mark on your like top two or three,
Mhm.
it's still like signals an effort,
Right. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
if you know that's how they prefer it. So I think it's just a good thing to know. So then, like, if you're upset after work and someone's just trying to throw a hug on you and that's not what you like, you can
Right.
at least be like, they're trying, they just don't know yet, or they just don't get it, or maybe my needs have changed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like you don't want the hug necessarily, but you're not pissed off because you realize that they're just trying to show you some type of affection.
Right. You want the support.
Yeah.
You don't want the physical touch.
Right. Right. All right. So what else you got in your brain dump? I don't want to
What's
not
on my
let
brain
you
dump?
say things that you have planned out.
No, you're good. I did find that 38% of US residents
Mhm.
have quality time as their number one. So that is like the majority in this country of
Interesting.
love languages. And I mean, it made sense in my brain because that's my number one
Yeah.
also, even though I think it stems from a different place. But
Mhm.
it's a very American thing to get so distracted. Like the term growing apart happens because you're doing other stuff without your
Yeah.
partner,
Yeah.
right? I think it's a very American thing to be super busy or super caught up with other stuff and just jumble your priorities.
Right.
And that's why I feel like people, especially here, feel like quality time is the most important
Yeah.
love language.
John, you
That was
look
my
like you're
fun
going to ask
fact.
something.
No, I was just going to say, or does it mean we're lazy?
It could be a combination of the two, but if you don't like to spend your free time the same way as your partner,
Then you're
then
not going to.
exactly, then
Yeah.
it's not gonna be your number one or both of your number ones or something.
Yeah.
Right. So, what do you consider quality time then? Because we were talking about this yesterday, and I think that we're really boring. Like, there's obviously like the fun quality time stuff, but like for me, like just like being on the couch and like vegging out, even if we're like looking at our phones and ignoring each other, I still consider that quality time because it's something that we're doing together. Is that like a
No,
lazy
I
take
would
on it?
I I trust me, that's my number one thing too. I agree with that, but I also think sometimes I think about my love language in terms of how my partner can talk me off the edge.
Hmm.
Like if I've had a
Right.
really stressful week or something, what of these five things can he do to talk me off the edge on Friday night?
Right.
Sitting on the couch and letting me pick the movie and pick the food that we order,
Hmm.
that's quality time. But
Oh, yeah.
also doing something that we both like an activity, or if we both spent a lot of time around other people and we're people pleasing everybody else,
Hmm.
being able to come back together and not be distracted by other stuff, that's also quality time. So I think it can be the quiet stuff, the
Yeah.
sitting on the couch, being comfortable just watching 6 hours of a show and barely speaking to each other
Yeah.
and being totally cool with it. But I think it's also like a Sunday fun day or something like that, how you would reconnect or basically come down if you're very overstimulated or distracted.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, cuz we were thinking like activity wise cuz there's a whole other thing like because I wasn't like fully sold on love languages. Like I found this
Mm-hmm.
like it was from like Australia, like 7 new love languages, and it's basically the same thing. It was just like broken down a little different, and one of
Mm-hmm.
them was activity, and we
Mm-hmm.
were kind of like going back and forth, like is what activities are quality time and which ones aren't. Like if we like go for a nice walk around the block, that's quality time. But if we go on like a hike, we're not really focused on each other. We're focused on the exercise and not dying. So does that really count as quality
Okay.
time at that point? I don't know.
I think anything that you do with the intention of just being with your partner
Hmm.
qualifies as quality time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like, I feel like quality time can't happen if you're like, oh, John, we're going to do this and we're going to meet up with this person and this person and this person. And then you throw it in the same bucket as spending time with your partner.
Right. Right.
I feel like there could be a conflict there because it seems like a priority is shuffled or something.
Right. So the fun part or the activity part is, the four of us meet up for dinner and we have a great time, and the quality time part is when we get in our cars and leave and talk about what happened.
Exactly.
When we start talking shit on each other or whatever, like, oh my
Right.
god, Taylor's so fucking annoying.
Sometimes, man, sometimes. But I
Just
think
kidding.
anything that you do with the intention of just spending the time with your partner,
Hmm.
whether or not it's like, because I thought about that too. I'm like, is it really just literal time spent with them? But I think there's too much, the factor of a hobby is way too baked into quality time. Because if Rob loves sports, I obviously don't, and
Yeah.
he thought, oh, I'm going to take Taylor to a football game, I would not chalk that up to quality time,
Right.
whereas
Yes.
he might.
Yeah.
So I feel like anything that you do with the intention of both of you enjoying it, whether it's a hike or like a movie marathon,
Hmm.
I feel like you can throw that in the same bucket as quality time.
That is a fantastic point.
Well, I do like
Am I
that.
am I convincing you yet?
No, you totally are, but now John's.
No, 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 no. I agree, and that was my assessment as well.
Mhm.
Like I was looking at the 7 versus the 5 and kind of seeing where things like compared a little bit. But what I thought
Mhm.
about the 7 and what I liked about the fact that they pulled out the activity is this goes back to something that I was saying in the maybe earlier in the episode. Don't know.
Yeah, we don't know how we're gonna
Don't know
edit
where
this
this
yet.
is going to go yet. But
Okay.
the point is that I'm not a big fan of methodologies in general. I think that they're very rigid. I think people use them and abuse them in ways that it just eliminates the purpose of methodologies in general. But what I like about this and what kind of changed my mind a little bit is if you use the methodology as it's meant to be used as a tool that will help you be mindful, be more mindful in the different areas of love, then that's great. I like that. And breaking down that additional layer of breaking quality time into activity and
Mhm.
in personal time, I think that that is a important distinguishing factor in making sure that you're hitting all of the sectors of quality time. You're screeching your tires outside. Um, hitting all of the sectors of quality time. Like you're ensure, like if you're using this as a checklist, it's like, yeah, cool, yeah, we did the hike last weekend, we got that covered for the month, we're good to go. Did we sit on the
Right.
couch and ignore each other? No, we have not done that yet. So let's spend some quality time
Yeah.
with each other
Mhm.
now. So I think using
Yeah.
it in that perspective, like using it as a checklist or just a mindfulness tool, I think it's great to distinguish the difference between, sitting your ass on the couch and actually going out and enjoying each other's time outside of your normal bubble.
Yeah, I like that concept. Especially I keep saying it, but I do think about this as how to like heal something,
Mhm.
not just how to show love or whatever, how to get talked off the ledge. But I feel like I can think of a argument in each of these categories when one person is feeling underappreciated or ignored, or you're getting into that like roommatey phase. I
Right.
can think of something that falls into each of these new 7. And when I was reading the article that you had sent over about it, I feel like the financial one is huge because couples that don't communicate about money are not for the long run. And I feel like if you think about it like a checklist in the health of your relationship, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So I like the concept of, oh, we haven't done this in a minute. Maybe we should do it so we don't get too estranged from it. Or anything that gets ignored grows in a relationship, just like anything that gets attention grows in a relationship. So I feel
Right.
like that's a big one.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, just a helpful, holistic mindfulness exercise that just puts us all, reminds us that we have more than just sitting on the couch and ignoring each other. There's
Right.
spending like time outside of the house. There's interacting with other people. There's the financial aspect of it, which I called bullshit on Emily for that one.
Yeah,
But
he said I put it in there to just get more money out of him, which is like, it wouldn't be the worst idea I've ever had. Yeah, wow. You guys are really smart.
It is.
You
It
two
is
are
a very
annoying to
type
listen
A
to.
way. It's a very type A way of thinking about this, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, considering the source, John, you came up with this as a checklist. I like that. It clicks in my brain, but I feel like, especially for maybe couples starting out, to kind of maybe not together if it's too uncomfortable yet, but in your own brain, you can kind of do these little checks. And if stuff's continuously missing, then there's a point of conversation. Like, instead of just going on one date and being like, oh, his love language has to be physical touch. He was constantly trying to hold my hand, blah, blah, blah. It's a good way to, keep track of if something's going to work or not.
Right. So
Fair.
has Rob taken this quiz? Or do you know
He
Rob's
has
love
not.
languages?
He has not. I think I could guess them,
Okay.
but he has not. So I can definitely do it, like have him take the test and report back if you guys wanted to include that.
I was just
But,
curious. I was just thinking about it.
I do feel like his number one would also be quality time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of that for our relationship would stem from being long distance for so long.
Yeah.
So
oh my gosh, I
feel
didn't even
like,
think about that.
yeah, so I feel like his would number one would probably be quality time, and number two, I'm feeling like for him would be physical touch, because
Right.
anytime he's trying to wind down, it's, can you scratch my back? Can you play with my hair? Stuff like that. And
Cute.
he's basically just a little Labrador Retriever
He's a puppy.
that I married. Yes.
did you ever try patting his butt? My grandma used to do that to me when I was a kid.
I haven't tried patting his butt, but I have had to burp him in the past, so that counts as physical touch.
Didn't I just ask if you needed me to burp you yesterday?
You did, and I kindly declined.
Right, because your physical touch is 0%.
Right. Don't touch me. I can burp myself, goddammit.
As I throw myself into a wall.
Gosh.
But also, when I was thinking about, I did think for a second, maybe I should have Rob take this real quick, just so I can compare his versus mine. I'm fairly confident I at least have his 1 and 2 down, which are the most important. But it did make me think a lot of love language stuff has got to come from how you were raised. Like, my family, not very touchy-feely. I think the last time I hugged my mom before the day I told her I was pregnant was, I don't know, Christmas Day, maybe?
I was going to say your wedding day.
Yeah. Well, my mom loves to hug Rob. So sometimes when we're leaving the house, she'll throw a hug on him, and if I'm behind him, I'll just get one by default.
Right, yeah.
But that's, that's not who my family is. It's like, we don't show our love through physical touch, hugs and pats and sitting on laps and all that stuff.
Right.
But Rob also didn't get that, but it translated a different way as he grew up. Like he grew to want it.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas I grew to be used to it and think of or start to need other things that I'm used to needing.
Right.
Plus he was also one of 4 boys and I was one of 2 girls. So the attention, pot was a little more forgiving where I was coming from.
Right.
Whereas where he was coming from, if you got dinner, you were, you got attention.
Right.
So I feel like he grew to need that and want that, whereas I grew to be used to not getting that and be okay with it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this, whether or not we grow and change, there's got to be something in here that's rooted in how you're raised,
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think that
right?
mine being words of affirmation shows the split because like you said, like I don't take words of affirmation very well. Like I can't
Mhm.
accept it, but I want it.
Mhm.
And it's like
Mhm.
I didn't get a lot of that when I was a kid, so I don't know how to accept it. But like I
Right.
yearn for it. Like I want you to tell me I'm doing a good job. But also when you say that, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not. I'm a fucking idiot. Shut up. You know?
Right. Yeah,
Stupid,
I think
stupid,
you and
stupid.
Rob are the same in that, whereas you both were lacking in something
Mhm.
that you grew to need and want. So I think there's
Interesting.
got to be something there.
I think so. I think you know what? I think that I'm really getting convinced. I think I still don't like I don't like the concept of in my brain, and I don't know if anybody's actually doing this or if I'm just making it up to be mad of like someone using this as like a reason to like like a zodiac sign, like oh like I'm such a Virgo, like oh like I can't give you a gift because my love language is words of affirmation, so not spending
Right.
money on you, you know, like this made up scenario in my brain is what I don't like about it, but like
Right.
it makes a lot of sense, it really does, and it's
And that goes back to exactly what I defined.
methodology abuse.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I
I
went through a
think
whole
it's valid.
spiel. The methodology abuse that I put together here is
Mhm.
it's got three categories. Basically, one is those that are dependent on methodologies, and they basically use them as the Bible, the end all be all, no flexibility, no interpretation, whatever. If you don't fit the profile, you're out. Fuck you. Then you have those that are blinded by methodologies, meaning that they are focusing so intently on the methodology and trying to figure out why everything in their life is wrong because the methodology says it is versus just trying to find a different methodology that might fit them better. The third is those that use them for malicious purposes, like trying to squeeze more money out of me with this the seven love languages,
What can I say? You know, I like what I like.
It's worth
or
a shot.
Emily faking up to this point and saying that she understands the love languages, she knows what her love languages are, but all in all, she never took the quiz and she was a faker the whole damn time. So that
He was very mad about that
that
because
was
I said that we had talked about it, but that I'd never taken the quiz before, and he was like, "So what would you say?" And I was like, "I don't know. I would just make it up."
right. You used the methodology to assume your way into a opportunistic portion of it, and you were trying to capitalize on it. So you are a methodology abuser.
Yeah, well, whatever.
So that was the thing I made up, and I did make that up. It is my thing. I'm going to write the book, so you can expect that.
Okay.
It says intellectual property.
Yes.
So
See
there
ya.
was there was something that you had said you wanted to put a pin in earlier. Have we touched on it yet, or?
Yes, it was the whole physical touch thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, was there anything else that you have that you wanted to go over? Because I'm thoroughly convinced at this point.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
I knew it would.
I wanted to acknowledge that I can counter every single argument that
Mhm.
I've made that these are helpful. Like every time I would write a note or think about one of these things,
Mhm.
you can counter it because it's just like any type of these personality tests that you take for yourself. I think it's very curious to have the people that you know or that are in your like super close inner circle
Mhm.
to guess yours because I think that is also kind of telling. Like
Yeah.
if you take the test and you're shocked, maybe it would align with what someone would guess yours would be because that's how you show love to people, even
Mhm.
though you might not be aware of that. But I just wanted to acknowledge that it's just a piece of a relationship. It's
Right.
not how you should build one.
Yes.
Like any of
Exactly.
these things, like knowing how you function. We recently, it was voluntary, of course, but we got a link for the Myers-Briggs test, but it
Mhm.
was kind of reformatted for how you are as a coworker, like our HR department sent
Mhm.
it out just as a curious little piece. Then their hope was people would talk about it in their teams. So you could kind of learn how people like to work or how people function, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I feel like any of those things, it's interesting. It makes you think about people you're interacting with, but it's not how you should conduct yourself in any type of relationship.
Right.
Like you said, like, oh, that person's she's a Sagittarius. She's allowed to be a bitch. It's
Yeah.
the same thing, you know? Like, it's not be how you conduct yourself, and it shouldn't be how you build a relationship. But any of these little like tidbits
Yeah.
on how you can maybe help your partner or grow with them,
Right.
I think they're helpful, whether or not you entirely buy into it or not. I do want Rob to take it because A, I want to be right. I want to know that I got his number 1 and 2 correct. And B, because I'm just curious. I just think it would be fun. I've never made him take any of these, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I never
crazy pop psychology tests, but I'm very curious about this one.
I never made John do it either. This was the first he'd ever heard of love languages or anything like that. I would, yeah. I'm curious to know what Rob's are too. We can once you have him do it, let me know.
I will.
Rob, he's just such a mystery to me. Like I feel like I've known him for so long and yet I know nothing about him except that he never stops talking. Like that's the only thing I know about him.
That maybe would be his number 1, you know, trait. He's talkative. He's a talkative guy.
He's very, very talkative, but
which is kind of awful that words of affirmation is my number 5. So
right.
do with that what you will.
You're missing the boat.
I know.
Oh, it's so funny because I just know exactly how that turns out. Cool. This is fun. This has been a good time.
Super fun. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm super excited that I got in like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because once you blow up, this is gonna be great. I can be your first returning guest.
Oh, you are going to be a returning guest. I think if there was one thing that we agreed on, like from the get-go, it was that you were going to be the first person we brought on. You were going to be you were the one thing that we were like, Taylor is coming on the show. Me and my
excited about that.
My 2 Virgo loves of my life. Do you have anything do you want to plug? Do you want to be found on the internet or do you want to remain anonymous?
Yeah, you can find me at the same user handle on every single platform because I've been using social media for that long.
Right.
Whether or not I'm proud of it is I'll withhold that. It's at Taylor Pagey. I'm gonna be a mom soon, and Emily's gonna be an aunt.
I'm gonna be an aunt,
and
I can't wait. I live for my weekly updates. I really do.
Yeah, we'll get one tomorrow.
I can't.
Updates on Monday, which my brain really loves.
Right.
So
I never want to ask you.
We'll get a new produce on Monday.
Because I don't want to bug you. I don't want to like, except for that one time where you just like, completely blew me off all week. But like, I literally like, I wait to find out what fruit or vegetable this little thing is.
Yep.
This week.
Yeah, we will find out tomorrow.
Yay! So exciting. Taylor, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much. And I will see you in like 4 weeks for your baby shower.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Thank you, guys. This was awesome.
Woot woot.
Is that how you say goodbye, John?
That's my closing statement. On Thick Ice is created, hosted, and produced by Emily and John Shacklet.
To join the conversation, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at OnThickIcePod, email us at onthickIcepod@gmail.com, or call our hotline 415-494-7275. Subscribe to On Thick Ice wherever you get your podcasts.